Did you know that eclipses have families just like we do? They're connected by visiting and revisiting each other every 9 and 18-year cycles. Hopefully, we visit our families more often than that. But the point is that last week's solar eclipse new moon in Cancer, that was July 12th, in cycles took us back to July 1st of the year 2000, halfway through the first year of the millennium. Issues surrounding home, family, nurturing, how you nurture yourself or others, were triggered. So ask yourself this: what began around July 1st, 2000, that is now coming up for a new look, a new iteration in your life? Welcome. I'm Judith Royal, archetypal astrologer, and this is your astrology weather forecast for the week of July 16th through the 22nd, 2018. And we have just completed the first of a trio of eclipses, and so we are in a time in our lives when our intentions are being stoked and tested, especially this week with the first quarter moon in cooperative Libra. That'll be on the 19th. So we're all about relationships this week. We're actually sitting on the razor's edge of solutions, not just in our personal lives and our personal relationships, but innovative solutions that have also got a global impact. We belong to, of course, a bigger tribe than we ever thought we did. Not just our nuclear family or even our extended family. It's our extraordinarily encompassing family of 7 billion people. Taking what Martin Luther King told us way back in the 60s, that what happens to one of us affects all of us. And I'm certain that right now, that is the lesson being brought home to us in the trio of eclipses, and we are right now in the in-between, between the new moon eclipse and the full moon eclipse that's going to be very, very powerful on July the 27th. So let's prepare ourselves, shall we? Welcome to your astrological weather forecast for the week of July 16th through the 22nd, 2018. And how indeed could you prepare for an eclipse? Well, knowing, for example, that you have on last week's eclipse on July 12th, you completed an 18-year karmic cycle. And so now you've started fresh. And the next eclipse, which I think is the most powerful because it will be joined with Mars, who's now in Aquarius, and that you can prepare for by noticing between now and then where some suppressed anger starts popping up, showing itself in your life. Like you come home, you slam the door instead of shutting the door. You kick something across the room, and you stop and say, what is that all about? Because we're really freeing ourselves from being run by fear, because, of course, it's all about noticing and allowing in the love that has been surrounding us all the time. So this week, we start off with such a beautiful thing because Monday, the moon is in hardworking Virgo, yes, but so is Venus. So the moon and Venus have just met, making for the really open hearts and giving your love so freely. It does, with a Virgo moon, always bring us to a little bit of cleaning house, but with Venus involved, it will have beauty to it. So you be cleaning closets in your mind where you're holding any fears. They always show up, I believe, as resentments, grudges, anxiety, that things are not going to work out the way you want them to. Well, they almost never do, right? So we can let that go. This will be one of the happier Mondays of recent times because the moon in Virgo is also going to make some lovely aspects to Jupiter. So expects a little sparkly good luck, and is in an opposition to Neptune. So there is a bit of daydreaming that you could fall into on Monday. But it's going to be for a good purpose because there is a trine to Pluto. So easily you can look at some unconscious habit or limitation that pops up so you can let it go. And of course, the way we let anything go is through forgiveness. Hopefully, forgiveness of yourself. The Virgo moon takes us into Tuesday morning, but in the afternoon moves into Libra. And there she's going to make a square to Saturn, but a beautiful trine to Mars. So the square to Saturn means that you may be tempted to worry, to have anxiety, to think of things negatively, but please don't do that, and keep it in your mind. And the trine to Mars means your feelings have got so much robust energy that you'll really be emotionally feeling quite good on Tuesday. The Libra moon has all of Wednesday, and even though there's a square to Pluto, it's a day of relationships. In fact, relationships is the theme for this whole week because we're moving towards the first quarter moon that will be in Libra on the 19th. We're almost there. So the moon in Libra is about cooperation. And that Pluto is probably bringing up places in yourself where you might think that cooperation means you lose something, or you might think that cooperation you have to bend over backwards. So Libra is all about the balance of that yin and yang, which is that you are helping other people at the same time you're helping yourself, that you are giving and you are also receiving. So that's a wonderful day on Wednesday. Wednesday's a great communication day anyway, but it's a wonderful day to talk with your partners, with your business associates, etc., and just get to a fair agreement. So fairness is big for Libra. Thursday, on that first quarter moon, which comes right in the early afternoon, Pacific Daylight Time, and it's a lovely time for communicating. The first quarter moon is the testing point, the crisis point for that solar eclipse new moon that we had 1 week ago on the 12th. And the crisis testing point is pruning. It's about pruning. So things are growing in your life, right? And expanding. And the goals that you have, things you're working on, this is a time to stop and think, where is my overgrowth? Where have I been overly confident or even not confident enough? So you're just doing a little bit of focusing more clearly on your intention, on your target. So the moon goes into Scorpio that afternoon and evening and is going to bring up, well, from the outer world, bring you a surprise, and you will welcome it, but it might take some adjusting. The moon's in Scorpio for all of Friday the 20th. Now, this is a day that you might get a look at that suppressed anger. So take advantage. Don't be afraid of that, right? That's your unconscious working with you to show you what you do not want to keep doing, what you do not want to keep carrying with you. But by late afternoon, it is beyond all good. It's all lucky. It's all good fortune. And you're just going to have a sense of a big sigh, a sense of well-being. The moon is still in Scorpio for all of Saturday. But here, the moon makes a wonderful relationship with Neptune. So Saturday, that's ordinarily clean out the garage and run some errands. This is actually a day to be quiet in the sense of paying attention to your meditation, to your prayers, to living mindfully and centering yourself in your life. Sunday the 22nd, we get all fired up in the biggest way because first, the moon will be in fiery Sagittarius, but Sunday is also the day the sun moves into Leo. So that's the moon in fire and the sun in fire, and they are working hand in hand. So it turns out that this day, which is for some people ordinarily a day of rest, is not going to be that at all. It's going to be a very creative day, but it's also going to be action-packed. You're just going to feel like doing a lot, and Venus comes in to give you, well, some self-confidence, but also to kind of lift your horizons and show you that you're capable of more than you thought you were, perhaps, or just that you haven't been giving yourself enough credit. So that's the end of the week, and coming ahead for us, the second of that trio of eclipses on July 27th. So first, we want to talk about Mars. So just as a quick review, Mars has been coming closer and closer and closer. And the 27th is going to be a close encounter, maybe of the third kind, I'm not sure. But nevertheless, you can now, on a clear night, if you're away from city lights, you can see Mars as a sort of orange dust ball with the naked eye. So it's also all of that electromagnetic and gravitational energy coming so close to us. And what is all this going to be about? It's going to be about our moral compass. We are going to see in the outer world, because Mars will certainly pull up aggressive energy, certainly energy for action. So we're going to see in ourselves and in the outer world the status or the condition of our moral compass. And I always like to remember that the angels teach us by contrast. So when there's a beautiful lesson to be learned, for example, your moral compass, then we see the polarities because by the contrast, we get to discover where we stand. So we're going to see more talk, I think, about some leadership that does not go by a moral compass, maybe some political things, but also it might be other authority figures And in our lives, we know we have a moral compass that when we are using that, we feel good about what we're doing. And I can do that very easily in my mind when I'm sitting at home and it's just me. But then I go out into the traffic and somebody cuts me off or whatever. And then my intention to be loving and kind to everyone sort of flies out my car window, right? So we are going to have those little tests ahead of us. But I'm going to welcome that and take that as a symbol or a sign that I need to be a little more vigilant. So we also have then coming ahead, Mercury is going to go into a retrograde. And remember, we already have Mars retrograde. And Mercury isn't going to do that until the following week, which will be the 26th, 27th of July. So you're hearing how this becomes sort of a cluster event, not just an eclipse, but so many things happening around the same time. So Mercury retrograde as well as Mars retrograde is saying to us, how do I express my frustration? How do I give my voice fiercely about what I believe in rather than aggressively? So we get a lot of wind in our sails for that in the coming weeks. Eclipses are literally points in time when the solar principle of decision, that yang energy of let's do something, can be brought to bear upon the lunar principle, where we have our unconscious memories, especially from childhood. These eclipses are times when we're offered the opportunity to consciously shake off old habits, old ways of feeling and being, and to reach out and grasp more joy in our lives. We'll notice that the atmosphere right now is pretty charged, maybe got lots of positive ions, but when these eclipses come around, we get a lot more of the negative ions, and so we get a sense that the fresh air comes through after a storm. So we can expect to feel really refreshed and revitalized, especially since we are paying attention to what's going on in the big picture. So get ready to feel fresher, less frazzled, and, ready to really cope well with all of the energy for transformation as well as rebellion in our world right now. So thank you for listening. I hope you're keeping notes for yourself about all the events that are happening. And if you would like to take a deeper dive into your own astrology, I do individual readings. You can get in touch with me at www.judithroyal.com. So, bye for now.